I'm going to share a quick story about how God provided for us when it comes to my daughter who had shaken baby syndrome and needing a bigger space to live in. So we lived in a pretty small apartment when my husband and I were first married, and we were going through, being caregivers to my daughter Krista, who was, bedridden and required a hospital bed and nursing care and stuff like that. So we felt, the pressure of, okay, we need a bigger space for the nurses. We need our own separate space. That way we don't have to share a bathroom with the nurses and stuff like that. And they don't have to share a bathroom with us. So we started looking around, and it almost seemed impossible, within our budget and things like that at the time, to find somewhere. And so, really we started, praying about it and asking God, what can you do in this situation? Because we did not have the best credit. We didn't have a huge budget, and at the time it was very expensive to find an apartment. And so we were in prayer about it. And little did we know that Krista would be placed on hospice care just 2 months later. And so we didn't know that at the time. So when we were looking for this, we just knew we felt prompted to find another space, a bigger space, but we didn't know exactly why. So it ended up like a friend of a friend of a friend, ended up having a space for us that was just basically perfect for us and perfect for the nurses. It had its own bathroom for the nurses, a big room for her and her medical equipment and everything. And it was just, something that God put right in our lives because it was within our budget and they were willing to work with us with that. And so whenever we moved into the place, it was about a month or two later that she was placed on hospice care. And so, see, we didn't know. All we knew is that we needed to move. And that was the only direction that God had given us at that time, was that we needed something bigger and that we needed to move. And we didn't know anything else. He didn't give us any further information or further details about that. He just told us that. So we ended up moving, and then, the month later, she was placed on hospice care. And so it enabled us to have this space that gave us privacy. It gave the nurses privacy with her. It was just so much better than it would have been in such a tiny space that we were originally in. And even the surroundings and neighbors, everything was just, God really aligned it all. And even the neighbors I had went to massage school with. So it was like God just put us in this position to set us up for what was happening that we didn't even know was going to happen. And so we were, she ended up passing away there peacefully in the home that we were living in. And we were able to grieve there, and it just provided us with what we didn't even know what we needed. And so I love sharing that story because sometimes God will give you a small detail and expect you to take that leap of faith. And once you do take the leap of faith, then He provides the rest that you need. You don't even have to really worry about it, because it wasn't like we had to go and really search for this. A friend of a friend of a friend, and it ended up saying, hey, I have somewhere. And it really wasn't that difficult. It was a pretty simple process. And so I want to encourage you, if you're waiting on something, if God has given you direction and you're just like, I don't want to take the step because I don't know what the other side holds, but you know that He has told you to do something, I want to encourage you to just go for it and to do it. And if it's within His will and it is His voice that you are hearing, then He's going to provide for the rest, and you don't have to worry about that part. He'll get you to where you need to go and to where He wants you to be. But in the moment, it just takes that kind of scary leap of faith, and, then He will put you on the path that, He wants you to be on.